Thank you, members, for attending the meeting. We have a quorum, so let's invite the representatives of the Hong Kong Law Society to come in. I call to order this meeting.
Yeah.
幾個 Commencement Notices
可唔可以一齊合併咧？係好冇啊？合併就佢哋自己示意邊個？係咯，Yeah. Thank you, Mr. McKinsey, Ms. McKinsey and Mr. Cohen and all others representatives. Thank you for coming. It's just a brief meeting to go through some of the bylaws and some of the queries that our legal advisor in this committee has raised last time. So for the sake of efficiency, I decided to combine the discussion together. And we have 5 bylaws. Yeah. So we would like to start with the commencement notice of the bylaws. So who will speak first?
Perhaps you let us know exactly what's causing concern, because I thought we had a previous time we came before you, we went through and we explained everything, all the changes.
Yes.
I think the issue which is perhaps causing some concern is why the 1 year to come into effect. Is that the gist of it all?
Okay.
I think that's the
so
only thing
let me
we're here
explain.
for.
Yeah, let me explain. Our legal advisor in particular has raised the concern that why it takes so long.
Let me explain that.
So you just briefly tell us why.
First of all, I think you've got to realise we have now 8,000 solicitors. The changes that we put forward are substantial changes, and it's very, very important that the profession has the proper time to able to really understand what they have to do. So you need that time for, let's say, the following reasons. First of all, we had to put forward a new manual. To be honest, it takes time to draft a manual, to get it circulated, to get comments back, and we've only just had comments back from the accountants and then circulate the manual. The next time is that all members of a law society say, well, we need proper courses set up, so we've set up a whole lot of sort of special courses, remedial, etc., lectures, and that takes time to get all those lectures together so everyone is fully au fait in respect of all of those lectures as well. Systems, computer systems. To be very frank and very honest, these changes for the large firms are easy. But if you're just a sole proprietor, and if you look at the demographics of the members of a law society, 70% or 80% are either sole practitioners or 2 partners. It's quite strange, actually. Hong Kong, if you look at the legal profession in the world, Hong Kong is the complete opposite to anyone else. The number of large firms are not very, they're the big city firms, the American firms. Even my small firm with 20 members is up at size 35 or 40 out of a number of 600-700 law firms. So these smaller firms need help. They need to have the opportunity to go to the lectures. They need to be asked questions. And in the end of the day, the Law Society, in their wisdom, having regard to all the consequences, they felt this was the right time to do it. Now, yes, it could have been done quicker. I got a little bit personally, putting on my examiner's hat, I wanted to examine on this in the Overseas Lawyers Qualifying Exam, but my knuckles were firmly wrapped saying I can't, because everyone's got to be taught about it as well. So, overall, if you look at it as a whole, and one other thing, I recollect when the Companies Ordinance came into place, if you remember, there was a long year period to give people, they promulgated it, and then they had a commencement period, about a year, so everyone got up to date. So, in a nutshell, some people want it quicker, but I think at the end of the day, the wisdom of the Law Society Council decided that they wanted to do this. So that's it in a nutshell. Prepared to answer any questions. Anything else?
And also, accounting firms of law firms are 1 year, so asking them to change suddenly affects their accounting year, and so that goes in within what Mr. Cohen said about systems.
End of year. Some people have March, some people have December. So it just gives everyone the opportunity to get it together.
Okay. Let our member ask their questions. So the first one is Mr. Dennis Kwok.
morning. The reason why we asked you to come is also for part of the record, because if anyone wishes to question later on why it took 4 years, etc., etc., we know you have good answers to those questions, but we just want to formally put it on record. But you raised a very good point just now, which is also part of my concern regarding foreign law firms, because part of the commencement notice covers the foreign lawyers' practice. And you raise a very good point as to why foreign law firms should not be subject to the same requirement. I understand that they are subject to the same requirement, but why are foreign lawyers' OLQE exams not solicitor account rules is not a subject which OLQE should be part of?
Let me answer that question.
Mr. Cohen?
It is a subject, and I'm the examiner for that, and the exam is on Thursday.
Yeah.
What I said here is because the principles are that you only examine on the law in force on the 31st of August. Exams are every November. Now, if you're a lecturer at universities and you've got to teach, it really can be quite awkward. So you look at the 31st of August, what's in force at the 31st of August is examined on, even with cases as well. So everyone who's sitting the overseas lawyers qualifying exam sits accounts and professional conduct. They've got to pass both parts as well. I would have liked to have examined these new rules on that basis, but in the end of the day, the committees took the view it would not be fair because it technically had not come into commencement date or in force.
That's my point. I think they should be tested in the court.
Well, it will be tested. I mean, the accounts rules are there. It's the old rules that are tested. The new rule will not come into place into July. So when I set the paper for next year's accounts rules, of course they will be all tested.
So
as well.
actually, it's a matter of time. So
Pure
it will
timing.
will be tested.
It will be
due course.
tested. It will certainly will be tested
Okay.
in no uncertain terms. I mean, you know, but also you do have to realise this. I mean, to be very frank and honest, if you look at these amendment rules, they are, in essence, a sort of codification of putting everything together. Yes, there are 4 or 5 substantial changes which have to be dealt with, splitting of checks and various sort of ways in treating clients' money. But courses are in place. So people who are going to be examined on it will be examined on it, but not for this year's. They're taking the law in force on the 31st of August. It's the same with every single subject. So, for example, if you have a Court of Final Appeal decision that is handed down between the 31st of August and when they sit the exams, which are all this week, they're not examined on it. They're only examined as to the law in place on the 31st. The reason for that is that the courses are put in place, and the examiners and everyone says, well, how can you do that? But always a clever student always writes something in the exam paper, so they get an extra mark.
Okay, then.
And also, if the foreign lawyer in question comes from a jurisdiction that has very different accounts rules, say, a jurisdiction we're not familiar with, would you deal with those cases differently? Or when those law firms are practicing in Hong Kong, would the Law Society have an enhanced program looking at these law firms and the way they practice?
Well,
Mr. Cohen?
Well, if they're meant to be very honest, they have to comply with the council rules. They cannot set up their law firm. The foreign law firm, if established here in Hong Kong, must comply with the relevant rules attributable to practicing in Hong Kong. So they are under the complete auspices of the Law Society, and if they are in breach of any of the rules, how they hold clients' money, they'll be for the high jump.
And also the new guide to professional conduct obligates foreign lawyers practicing in foreign law firms with complying with the rules. And Chapter 1 also deals with conflict of issues, and in fact the new guide to professional conduct incorporates the International Bar Association rules, and so where there is a conflict between their own jurisdiction ethical rules and the Hong Kong ethical rules, then you look at the International Bar Association principles and how those conflicts are to be resolved.
Okay.
Okay, then.
Thank you.
So it's a matter of fairness.
Well, I'll tell you what, you know, time and time again, I think we actually would be harder on the foreign lawyers now to make sure they do comply, and they do know they have to, and you know, they're all aware as to this rules, and they will be aware of it all, and they, you know, they don't comply with it, they have a big problem.
Yeah, maybe they can be trained again to update themselves in the course.
Well,
right?
every lawyer
for
should
those
be
who have already missed this.
Every lawyer should be
update.
updating themselves every day.
Okay.
Yeah, the reason why I raised that is because I want to ensure there's a level playing field between the foreign lawyers and the Hong Kong lawyers, so that everyone competes on the same level playing field.
Well,
For that, the Solicitors' Council rules have been made into the risk management program, and therefore taking a Solicitor Council rules is a risk management issue, considered risk management, and foreign lawyers and lawyers are being trained on that.
Okay.
Okay. Any more questions? Yes, Felix?
So the major explanations from the Law Society on why it took a bit long to get it ready is you have to explain everything, to do seminars for all your members. So right now, I believe that all your members are very clear about the procedure and everything. And I also noticed that you need to take some time to engage with the Hong Kong MA and also the Hong Kong Association of Bank.
yeah, for the banking,
The bank and the monetary authority. So everything is set up and ready to go?
Yeah, absolutely, because I mean, one area which is a good thing is that we've had problems in the past with law firms who the Law Society had to intervene in. Solicitors go rogue, and unfortunately it happens. Some of those solicitors who go rogue had clients' accounts offshore. And that was really great problems in trying to recover money on behalf of the clients. So we stopped all of that. You've got to have your accounts in Hong Kong, but you can apply for waivers, and we've got to get this all set up as well. So that's one area where it needs a bit of time to make sure everyone is fully aware as to that fact.
But I believe that you probably have overseas clients.
Yeah.
Will that be involved in overseas bank account?
No, you've got to have your accounts. We're a Hong Kong law firm.
So everything has to be
in Hong Kong, absolutely.
Right.
The principle is that you cannot manage a Hong Kong law firm and regulate a Hong Kong law firm which has accounts overseas, because you have no power overseas.
Sure.
And therefore, in order to ensure that the public is protected, all accounts must be in Hong Kong, so that the Law Society...
So what sort of thing you particularly have to be connected with the Hong Kong monetary authority?
It's to advise, I don't think it's too much for the monetary authority, to be very frank. It's advising law firms who have accounts in Shanghai, in China, in London as well. They can't do that anymore. They need to, get their money back into Hong Kong. If there's clients' money offshore, their clients' money must be in Hong Kong.
To protect the clients.
Yeah, it's a timing.
To protect the clients.
That's purely to protect
the
the
other
clients.
issue is also monetary authority would be in relation to banks, because solicitors' clients' accounts must have the word client account written on the checkbooks and the bank statements. Okay. And so we want to make sure that banks understand the need for solicitors' client account checkbooks and statements to have the words client account written on them. And so all banks must understand that, and we can only do that through.
A few banks didn't understand that.
Yes.
Most banks would let you put the word client's account, but believe it or not, one or two were being a bit saying, well, we don't. But now they all do. So we're making sure that everybody is in tune with that.
Yeah. Okay, Felix, any more? If not, I think we're ready to pass all this and to endorse it. And just to read it, okay? Okay, do I need to go through it bill by bill? No need, yeah. Okay, so I think we would pass them on one lot, and thank you for coming, because it's another term now. So you can just come, and so we need to record it.
It's always a pleasure to come here.
So, so let us repeat again. I think date has been extended to the 2nd December 2015. Okay.
No, 2nd December. No, I think it's
July 2016. That's what it should be.
Yes, extended July 2016.
Yes, it says 2016.
It's okay.
1st July 2016.
1st July 2016.
Yeah, no, we're not talking about the commencement
Date.
date.
You're talking about-
We're talking about the procedure at the legislative.
Oh, yes,
so
sure,
that the
sure. Yes.
discussion, actually, we have extended it to 2nd December. And we will pass it to the House Committee. In the House Committee, we'll read it, and everything is done. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank
for
you very
coming.
much.
Thank you.
Okay? Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you all.